line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up.
It's a hot one here in Hampton, Georgia, and this crowd of over 100,000 joining us in the stands here today to see the ARCA series of Pushing Limits Racing League bring to the crowd and bring to the stands in a hot, debated fight in the ARCA cars. It's time to see who is the fastest and the toughest of the plate tracks for the ARCA series at Atlanta. Hi, everyone. I am Christian Schreiber, joining you guys here, the Crusader, alongside here in the field. We're ready to see the action and get down to business as always. So, as we get down to it, here our drivers now making the stage in front of center stage. It's time to look at our pole. And on the field grid here, it will be the number 8 of Tyler Orrick, with his outside being the 51 as Eric Gann. Row number 2 is Mike Rideout, and the 76 outside will be the 84 Matthew Hoffer. Row 3 will then be the 3 of Jason Henry is outside. The 85 is Noah Healy. Row number 4 is Stanley Powell, and the 48 is outside Christian Shriver, and the 14. Row number 5 will be Chantel Bottle, and the 5 to her outside is Belle Watkins, and the 337. Row 6 is Dave Sheark in the 56 outside. Kevin Baker pilots the 87, rounding out your field today. 12 drivers making the call here today. We'll see how they handle their nerves and how they handle the setup here with 60 laps to the distance. This ARCA series setup is extremely, extremely tough to work around and deal with, and in many occasions can be very exoneratingly difficult. Because of the speeds, because of the power, these cars have got to walk a fine line between driving quick and having to overdo the tires. As they always say, the ARCA brakes have a tendency to make things a little bit more difficult, and that could certainly be the case here. As the field works their way off around turn number 4, we'll see what happens from here as we bring them to the green flag start. The first time ever ARCA series at Atlanta. Clarification, the new Atlanta, by the way, as we get ready to go. The Super Speedway version is now setting our drivers off, and we're rough and running with Tyler Ork in the 8 early lead. Eric Gann and Noah and Matthew Hofford already having some problems up there, trying to get some speed going. No driver able to get the speed pushed up. You can see the outside already making it a little bit more difficult to work around. Down to the corner ends here, turn number 3 and 4. Trouble there for the 3. Jason Henry into the wall protection. You're going to get 3 wide saluted there for a minute. Gets out of the draft and out of the speeds in the pack, so that will help him release cautiously. Get squared away here. That is definitely not what they want to see this early in the race, though. On board here with the 337 of Bill Watkins, as you see him drafting out the Crusader himself in the 14. Shriver trying to keep his speed up there with the draft and see what he can get going with it. It's going to be a very tall order, though, considering right now the leaders are pretty much in a hodgepodge in a fight out here for exemption and speeds. Noah Healy in the 85 pushing it right towards the 8 of Tyler Orick here. Orick and him battling back and forth quickly through the pace. Or trying to hang on there on the outside. Healy dipping it towards the bottom. He seems to have a good grip down there. Stanley Pottle looks like the 48 having some mechanical problems down there. He has got a big problem. The car is smoking. On the 48, a mechanical failure, and it looks like Stanley is out of the race. A tough break there for the 48, but he was at least kind enough to get out of the way and let these drivers race it out. Respect to him where respect is due. Good on him. On board here with the 76 of Mike Rideout, a driver that knows a thing or two about winning on the plate tracks. He was the winner of the very last race of the season here on this very same channel, on this very same show at iRacing Super Speedway. Told me earlier today that he's really just getting more and more dialed up with these plate tracks than he's ever felt, and he says it's really just a matter of timing, shot driving, and really hitting my marks. That's going to be his toughest deal here today for sure. Last winding down right now, Noah Healy in the 85 had the race lead for a minute, but here comes the 8 of Tyler Orick back on the outside. Everybody else kind of staying away from the pack or staying close in the draft. Also, real quick, race fans, just want to make sure that everything's working on your guys' end. Make sure you can actually see the cars and everything is on my end right now. It looks a little bit fuzzy, to say the least. That's putting it nicely, too. Not sure if that's just Facebook or what that's going on with that end, but nevertheless, here we're them on down the field. Still side by side here as they are starting to pack the drafts up again. And you're going to ask again, like, what was I talking about when I said that these tires are taking a huge beating on this track and they don't exactly like to kind of run in this situation, this circumstance? Well, let me make it kind of obvious for you. We're on a mile and a half here. We're not on the 2.5 mile long tracks or the 2 mile long tracks, as you may have remembered. So this track has got some extremely tight corners and extremely tight little angles they have to hit from. In Atlanta, makes it that much more difficult to work around because the fact is you've got that tight of an end, tight of the turns. Even though you're close together and you're pretty much on the throttle the entire time, the problem is that you're still having to steer in. So when you hit those turns extremely tight and hard in the corner, well, let's just say your tires don't exactly like doing that all the time. Dave Sherrick, the 56, 5 spots up, hard charging right now, moving to the chains and moving through the field. Hope this thing looks good, so alright, well, I guess it's just my end, thank goodness. Noah Healy, Tyler Orick now up top and the bottom. Healy just not giving Orick any room or any chance to really breathe down there. As you see, even Jason Henry starting to make a bit of a comeback here from that little hit he took earlier. Onboard look at the brand new update to the ARCA cars. We haven't actually been able to see these things since they updated, which was updating for the way the panels look, the way the car looks and everything. Oh, and speaking of panels and stuff, looks like some panels thrown off on the 8 of Tyler Orick. Can-Am number 8 with major problems here, and it looks like he's now going to be slowing down in the pack. We did not even get to take a look at that here. Let's take a look at the PT Mr. replay. See what transpired here that caused him to slow down so much. Came right off. Down on the front straightaway. Oh, and Healy actually driving up slightly there, getting right into the 8. The 5 of Chantal Battle backing down. She does not want anything to do with that. As you see everyone else doing a great job with track awareness and driving to be able to stay clear of that wreck there that had happened right in front of them. Bad news is now the entire field having to get around it means that also Auric has lost a lot of ground and gain in position. He'll hang back there with the Crusader Christian Shriver in the 14th for a little while as Noah Healy continues his race lead, but Chantel Throttle Pottle now is parking it up on the outside. She's got a run here on Healy. Remember, Chantel's already got she's already got 2 wins this season alone, both at the super speedways of Talladega and Daytona. She'd love to add Atlanta to that mix. The tied 84 though, with Matthew Hofford bringing back I'm pretty sure he's bringing back some good old racing days in that beast thing. That is a beaut. Many great names have ran the Tide scheme, have ran in a very similar looking car like that, and it's great to see it back and representing. Even though I don't think this Atlanta was the place that they had ran on. They used to run back on the old oval days, and then got into the quad oval days for that Tide scheme. Of course, the new Atlanta here, repaved and redone here, and as many kind of refer to it now as Atlanta Super Speedway, referring to the kind of pinch line and joke that pretty much the only thing you're doing is running in an absolute plate track, which really you are, just in a 1.5 mile version. It's a very different ideal and a very different little racing style. Some love it, some hate it, some are just indifferent to it. Yeah, Tyler Orton right now with damage on his car here had to go into pit road, so he'll have to swing back for a little while and hope for the best here later on. Definitely a tough break there for him and his crew. Lap 14 of 16 now coming up through the field here as you see the 51 of Eric Game making a bit of a comeback here. He is putting the MR Customs 51 machine right into the march and into the charge as Hoffer goes up there to the top side. Pottle into the wall, same with Mike Rideout, but all drivers able to come clean. It's amazing to me they can get into that wall protection, yet they can still be able to drive it off. Despite slapping that wall pretty hard, they're still keeping the cars in good rhythm and good momentum. That's definitely helping their cause and helping their cases out quite a bit. Wait, just look at how close these cars are in this pack and in this draft. And again, you would just think they would just start literally. But no, this is literally how they race. This is now how they all perform and how they all work around. Whoa, and speaking of working around, there's trouble down there. Noah Healy, he goes for a little wild ride there. The 85 spins her out and no caution thrown. Well, that'll give us a reason to look at this one. Take a look at the Pizza Mr. Replay and see what the heck happened here. Healy looked like his car was getting way too tight and he was having a lot of problems holding her down. Take a look here. Came right around. Oh, yeah, he got a little bit of a tap there from the 84 Hoffert. Hoffert giving him the old love tap, and that wasn't quite the bump and run I think Healy was expecting here, but unfortunately that's going to be kind of how it plays out. One more look at it from our chopper cam as we get back to the live action here. Right there you can see just that slight tap was all it took. These ARCA cars, they are not easy to deal with in terms of bumping and running. They actually are absolutely horrendous when it comes to dealing with that kind of situation for a variety of reasons. That was one of them. Piling it down now. Old rivals go back at it again. Hoffer and Pottle back at it once more. Hoffer, remember, has gone to war with Chantel. I think I can account for an entire season in a Super Late Models division when those two were 1 and 2 the entire season. Hoffer tried so desperately and so hard to get that win off his back. He would get one out of the season. But in terms of the plate track scope, he's only got about 1 or 2 to his name. He'd love to change that today if he could get it going. But Mike Rideout, he's only got even 1 name just to his race in general. He'd love to finally get this one out of the way and get a victory at Atlanta Superspeedway. Jason Henry kind of moving back there. Dave Stewart as well going through the field. As you get a good little showcase here. Coming back from the outhouse, waiting for his time. The Crusader driver is now moving the chains back to the field. A lot of folks even told us earlier today that if you see us without really any scheme to our cars or really any look, that's because we didn't even have time to get these things adjusted and fixed up. We didn't even know the cars had been updated. So some of them don't even have the proper schemes or have their old school schemes out there. Some of them are unfortunately lost to time. Thanks a lot, Training Paints. Gann and Paddle right now going to do a little bit of a tussle here. Gann on the bottom lane here, dealing with the 5 up top of her. Field is starting to separate out and starting to get a little bit closer to pit stop. And you'll have about a 35-40 lap fuel limit on these cars, so that does give them a bit of time to kind of reassure themselves and kind of get a more of a chance to really hit home and hammer down the points you got to go for. But I'll tell you one thing still, again, you can just see even the struggle of it as Jason Henry gets through the corners here. The throttle rhythm and the speeds these guys are dealing with, they have so much trouble when it comes to holding down those cars and holding down these speeds, because again, even though they may look like normal Gen 4 Cup cars, they are still a handful on the tight end spectrum, because those right fronts love to give out and they will be extremely difficult to master. But on a track like this, it just even accelerates it even worse. Danny Graham saying, hello mate, let's go to church. Well, Danny, good to have you on board, and I'm not sure if you're talking about the Lord of Speed's wishes and prayers, if you will, but that is not, but I do not believe we're going to church right now. You can, if you will and you could, you can open your race Bible to Excel Chronicles verse 7 of 8. In time of desperation, when you run the plate tracks, you'll look for everything you can, trust in the power of speed, and you shall find your way in the end. For this race shall be quite something to be entranced. Flip cam down on the track here. The pavement ends, showing a lot of darker ended track. It's like a lot lighter. It's not used to be really light and all that when we were on here last time. Again, old Atlanta is still on iRacing, of course, but this new Atlanta, I don't know. I definitely love it, and at the same time, I kind of hate it. It's a very hard little track to master, and it's a very challenging track to figure out. But I mean, at the end of the day, it has its perks and it has its privileges. I think it definitely deserves a place on the Cup schedule, the Xfinity and Truck schedule as well. But I'm still not really sure how I feel about the old Atlanta still. I think I like this track a little bit more than old Atlanta. I'll say that though. So I'll probably get crucified in the comments section for that. But hey, I was never good at running at old Atlanta. All right, I was always better at driving the new Atlanta now. Even then, I'm still gonna tell you, this track is extremely tough to master. Don't let anyone think otherwise. This place is a talent track base, and it's a hard racing based surface. Well, best lap time, by the way. Here we're taking a look at the clock speed. These runs. Currently, it's a 31.10 for Matthew Hofford, your race leader, who's got a fast time. But in the fastest leg, the fastest of them all currently is actually the Crusader driver. He got a 30.77. That is the mark to beat right now. Will that stand? Only time will tell. But right now, here the field starting to tack up again. You can see the top 5 too right now. That's between Hofford, Rideout, Pottle, Shriver, and Baker. They currently are separated out by about only 3400ths of a second to the race leader from Baker to Hofford. And the troublesome part is as well, you're seeing a lot of just kind of grip and go when you can. Not a lot of drivers are getting that speed or that power off the edge from the draft like you would expect from these ARCA cars. They do a great job at Talladega and Daytona. But here in Atlanta, again, those sharp angles make it so much more difficult, make it so much more easy to shred up those tires, and in reality, really hang on to anything up there. So you really got to time yourself as much as you got to be patient with these races and with this overall drive. It is extremely difficult. Chopper cam used a good use here right now as the field continues to stretch out. We are about halfway done with this race. Approaching the halfway point here, and you can see, looks like Henry might be starting to push and shove his way up in that Tracker Boats Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet number 3. For the record as well, everybody is driving the Chevrolet Impala. That is the ARCA car design that iRacing gave us. They won't give us any of the other cars. Why? I don't know. I wish they would, but that's okay. MR Custom number 51 of Aragon here, staying right behind the field, currently dealing with the glitchcraft and gremlins and also dealing with the added pressure of having to use the controller he is using. Remember, he is one of the only RC drivers that actually uses the RC controller on the service, and usually most of the time you'll see on dirt some folks using actual just joystick controllers like you would with the PlayStation 4s and 5s and even Xbox Ones and the Xbox Series X's. But I think 99% of the time, if you go on iRacing, you'll hear everyone talking about the wheelbases and those pedal setups, and that is usually what most drivers will use here on the circuit. Matthew Hoffer right now continues to lead this track off. He is a race leader, continuing to maintain pace, maintain ground here, and that's exactly what he wants to do. We are halfway done with this one. Field vastly approaching faster speeds and tougher times here. We're taking a look at our time zone here, and the speeds are hitting upwards of 190 miles per hour, or 180 miles per hour, excuse me, 179 at peak torque so far for some of these guys in these corners. 185 is a little bit pushing it, but you can get it done here. As you can see, even some drivers trying to cross over a little bit, trying to get a little bit more in tip-top shape and form. Starting to get a bit interesting here. As they get right through the wall, the trouble there off a turn 2. We got problems. Huge wreck ensuing. The 14 gets slammed in the back there, and he's in trouble. Slammed in the back there with Jason Henry, but unfortunately got loose off the corner, and I don't know where the heck that came from. The caution flag is out. And that's just going to be something we're going to have to go view real quick and see what the heck happened here. What on earth was that wreck all about? See, it came right around. Whoa! Well, I'm not sure if Shriver slowed up a little bit or what that went wrong there, but you can see he's trying to save it. Gets in there with Henry. Couldn't quite get out of there. Caution flags fly on out and the lights flicker out of there, and there was really nowhere to go. We'll take a look at the onboard camera here and see if maybe the 5 got him. Yeah, a little bit there. Unfortunately, a little toe tap and stay on around. You can see him on see everybody on the brakes trying to get out of there and nowhere to go really. Wow. So the 5 will get an EOL for that one. We're being told from the officials, the judges ruling that a little incident, unfortunately, but that is part of racing, as they say. We'll see how everyone gets out of pit road. Tyler Orr's going to stay on out. He's going to get his lap back, and Noah Healy also going to come back out and get through it. Healy going to get his lap back here from just being on the pace car here. Field is going to stretch him away around off traffic here, and everyone getting back on the lap except for the 48 Stanley Paddle. We'll have to see if he can get it dialed up again. field will launch their way off down through the corners here. We are getting ready to get back to green action, race and action here, folks. Solid start here for the likes of the 84, Matthew Hoffert, Noah Healy, and Tyler Ork having their day in the sun, but it's Hoffert who's led the most laps so far. Pinpointing him off down off of corner number 4 this time on by. Green flag back on out. It's time to get back to it with the ARCA series. Marching their way down across that plains and through the field they go. Everybody solid start again. And despite the troubles there from having to start in the back here, the 5 Chateau Paddle starting to already kind of creep her way back with the field. Noah Healy there with her as well. You got a feeling though Noah probably is just thinking more and more about trying to get a little redemption, get to that field and get to that front again. Probably still thinking about that little hiccup he had as he gives the old Watkins. Oh, it's worth it. He's actually bumping him a little bit. Got that 337 a little bit rocked off here out of playing, and now he is just trying to hang in there. 23 laps remain though. It's Hoffer who still leads it. Baker and Rideout trying to hold him down, trying to keep him at it, trying to keep him honest here. Kevin Baker trying to make up an apple turnover and get his luck turned over here and win out a race for once. He's been so close so many times he's been close to it. Just hasn't been able to pull it off just yet. We're going to finally change that here in this race here as the field currently starts to close in, starts to creep through the run. Right around the backtrack. Oh, wait a minute. The 14 down low. I think he's going to let traffic go by, but I think he might have misunderstood. This isn't a 2.5 mile long track. He's lost speed. Now he's lost that draft completely. I don't know what the strategy was there, but he ended up just completely losing out the draft. Tyler Ork also struggling to keep up there with the crew, maybe expecting these guys and gals to get a little bit all over the place, and you'd think they are kind of, but again, they're still pretty much under control of themselves and these cars. The only difference is that some of them just want to try to see the world burn, I guess. Noah Healy way loose off of 3, almost loses in the corner, but hangs on. We're down to 20 laps remaining. Full throttle Chantel Bottle now trying to go back to back to back, pull off the triple K. She's right there with him, moving up quick. If she can get on the outside, get that speed going, she'll have a chance. But the problem is again, you stay up on that outside too long and you push it too long. Well, let's just say you're going to wish you had enough time to go get a replacement set of tires. Those tires aren't going to last you much longer. Dave Sherrick here kind of being the peacekeeper, if you will, kind of looking for the trade-off between the middle and the bottom. And he's taking right there with the 87's bumper here, keeping him out, keeping him right there with the field. Things getting intense. Here we go. Battle for the lead between the 84 and the 5. The rivalry renews itself and continues as Healy deals with right out there, right below him here. Both drivers in a great solid state of battle back and forth. You can just see how tight, how close these drivers are for one another and how close that camera is to about being broken in half. I'm glad it's still working all right. It's almost 3 wide there between Healy and Bottle, and Hoffert on the bottom thinking, no, no, no. He didn't want anything to do with it. He wanted to stay far away from it. He tried to distance itself out quicker than social distancing worked here back in the States for a time. But as they work him off, out off of corner number 4, a little puff of smoke there coming from one of the drivers. I think that might be Eric Gann, actually, that had a little problem down there. Camera crew did not have a camera on that 51, so we have absolutely no idea what happened. But they are double filed in. The side draft starting to come into effect. We got told earlier from the drivers that if you can get it close, the side draft was extremely good. And you can actually hold your line in without having to overpower some of the corners. And right about now, probably thinking, why am I having a side draft next to the kid here in the 85? Probably a little bit nervous about him because he is seemingly almost all over the place. But at the same time, he's not out of the wilderness yet. He's still hanging his car on pretty good. As you continue to see the MRM Logitech 76 try to deal with company behind him. Just an absolute back and forth affair here from these drivers. No one giving an inch and no one wanting to give out to the other. Hoffer and Pottle still at each other's game plan, at each other's throat. Scouring back to the field, we now are in my tower here. This is actually what I'm seeing right now on the broadcast. Oh, and speaking of seeing on the broadcast, man, look at that. Kevin Baker in the 87 nearly taking the 3 of Jason Henry for a wild ride there going into turn number 1. That sharp angle turn found both of them looking for some real estate, looking for some ground, and that didn't quite end up going the way they were hoping for. Almost taking the drivers out completely. Well, laps remain. We're nearing the end of this one, folks. Also, still to come tonight, Champion Power Equipment Fast and Fun Cup Series return to the stage. And if you thought at Atlanta Super Speedway was hard enough to get through, oh no, the drivers will get to have fun dealing with Talladega and a playoffs points battle still up for grabs. Which driver will get to the final 4 at Phoenix in a couple weeks? Find out with us tonight as Champion Power Equipment bring you the Fast and Fun Cup Series at Talladega. It should be an exciting one. It should be a great show to watch. But right now we're still dealing with this absolutely heretic race here. Chaos, madness all around us here. The field's still trying to figure out if they want to go to the outside, if they want to start pushing their limits a little more. 10 laps to go, though. Hoffer defending off the field. Let me tell you something, folks. This is not an easy feat because, again, because this is a mile and a half, you've got to time your shots. You've got to time where you drive. You've got to time where you're positioned at. And this is exactly what Hoffer wants. He's forcing everybody to have to watch him and watch his corners and watch every angle he takes to take in full control of this race. And that's what he's hoping for. He doesn't want anyone to try to dip him on the bottom. He doesn't want anybody to try to catch him on that outside. So what is he doing? He's literally defending and blocking the entire lane of that bottom lane where the line sets. In one hand, it's brilliant strategy because it actually forces everyone to go to the outside, tear up the tires. But the downside, though, is if somebody gets smart and actually figures out how to use that outside, you are left high and dry because that bottom lane will not help you any. And you still have to go full send, full throttle, so your tires and your fuel take a beating from it. And these guys are well aware of that, trying to watch their timing, trying to watch for an opening here. Baker hanging in there as well right now in the 87 as we go on board with him. This is a good look at those cars and a good look at this entire chassis and build around this ARCA car. It is good to see these Gen 4 designed up machines back in action, and good to see them back out on the track. Although, honestly, iRacing, just saying, could you please give us the actual Gen 4 Cup cars, please? Just saying. Or at least if you want to go crazy, can you please give us that Firebird by chance? Or not the Firebird, excuse me, the Plymouths. Could you give us those, or the Dodge Chart, and even those Dodge Chargers? Just saying. If you guys want super speedway racing, I'll tell you those will put a few hairs on your chest and probably make a few drivers figure out how to run those things as much as they have to figure out how to run those 87s. Speaking of those 87s, those are still to come here on the Pushing Limits Racing League side. Also, still have to see, of course, the Bristol Dirt Track with the Honda cars out on the track. We'll see how those perform and how they do well there. Should be an interesting race to say the least. 6 laps will turn to 5 to go. This time on by, our top 5 will be in full lookout. ARCA going to be up ahead. He could be a factor here. Top 5 on your screen. Final drive off. Here we go. Which driver will it be? Right out looks to get the opening. He goes to the outside, but he can't get the runoff. Now Baker staying low. Healy, though, he's going to get a little help. He's going up there, and looks like he wants to try to get some speed from Henry as well as the 56 of Sierk. Dave Sierk trying to get them going, trying to rally the troops. But a Healy gets sent back and back yet again. The draft, sorry as can be, is starting to make these drivers wish they did not go earlier on to the outside. They're tearing up the equipment. The equipment can't hold on to the outside anymore. It's just stuck to that bottom. Now comes the drive off. Can you get everyone to go with you to get around that 84? That's the only way you're going to get them, is you got to get around that draft. Hofford knows this. That's why he is blocking middle, blocking top. He is defending with everything he's got just to try to hang on. Gann right up ahead. Right out, getting crumpled around a little bit from Baker. Baker is starting to absolutely push some limits. He's starting to push a few buttons, I think. I don't know if Rideout's appreciating that too much. Henry on the outside. He's going in. There's nowhere to go. Gets back to the bottom. Closes the gap. And he's going to try it again. Oh, but he's going to get into it right out there on turn 3. Henry into the wall protection. Rideout stays clear. We're still green. 3 goes to 2. Green flag high in the air. Hoffer and Pottle left all alone. Will they go at it again? Pottle and Hoffer duking it out. They've done this before. They're looking to do it again. Eric Gann right up ahead of him, looking for a draft. Will Pottle go to the outside and use the 51 for a little leeway? She's going to try, but I don't know if she's got enough speed. She's trying to get the car to turn at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the white flag lap coming down to the front straightaway. Gann in the way. Lap traffic ensues. Bottle not able to get a good run there. Now she'll fall back in the draft. A huge run coming from the 5. She's got it locked in. Can she get it to that 84? Hoffer, no. She's coming for him. Looking to go back to back to back, trying to get a run there. They'll lead him through 3 into turn number 4. This time on by, though, it's not going to be enough. Matthew Hoffert will hold her off to the line. Wow. Held on just long enough. So the streak will end for the 5, and Matthew Hoffert can finally rest his head easily tonight, knowing he's got one in the ARCA series at Hotlanta. Hampton, Georgia, as he brings it to you the stage. Give him a clap, give him a hand. It is the 84. The Ty Downey machine brings it to victory lane. You can't even tell where the heck his car is anymore, folks. Race results now coming onto the screen. Your winner today, Matthew Hoffer, will be victorious. Chantal Potter will go second. Kevin Baker, another strong third place showing for him. Mike Rideout goes fourth as Noah Healy takes fifth. Dave Shearick goes sixth. Seventh to Bill Watkins. 8th to Tyler Orrick. 9th to Christian Schreiber. 10th to Eric Ann. Rounds out the field. Henry and Stanley Pottle will take 11th and 12th, respectively. Well, race fans, that'll all but do it for your coverage today for Pushing Limits Racing League. What a performance by all drivers involved in an absolute clinic of a battle. Hard race in the ARCA series at Atlanta. That's what it's all about, and we hope to see more of it in the due time. But for now, we leave you with this. Next week will be an off week for these drivers, but we will see them again in 2 weeks from now. It should be a classic, but as we tune off for now, be sure to join us tonight as we bring you Champion Power Equipment Fast and Fun Cup Series at Talladega. If you want more plate track action, we got you covered. But for now, thank you and be safe. We'll see you next time.